This is the Mop-Up Men podcast. My name's Justin Trinity. Along with me is co-host Kenny Baseball. All right, let's talk about Aaron Judge. Now, Aaron Judge, he's the face of the New York Yankees. He was the 2017 American League Rookie of the Year and runner-up for MVP.
Should have won MVP.
I believe he should have won MVP. He got it stolen from him by Jose Altuve, Mr. Trash Can, Mr. Buzzer. But even if you take that stuff out, I still thought that Aaron Judge was the better player. He led the American League with 52 home runs. He set a record for most home runs ever by a rookie, which was subsequently broken by Pete Alonso in 2019. Nonetheless, 52 home runs, 114 RBIs, 128 runs scored, with an incredible .422 on-base percentage. Now, 2018 and 2019, Judge comes up with 112 and 102 games played, respectively, in both seasons. He missed between 50 and 60 games a year in 2018 and 2019. Now, the thing about Aaron Judge is that he still produced. He still put up numbers. He hit 27 home runs, both in 2018 and 19. Had on-base percentages in the high threes, an OPS plus between 142 and 150, played a stellar defensive right field, only to be bested by Mookie Betts, I think is the best defensive right fielder in baseball. Had wins above replacement, if you're an analytics guy, of 5.9 and 5.5 in 18 and 19 respectively. So MVP-type numbers when he played. He in 2017 to 19, he was one of the top 5 players in baseball, if not the best player in baseball, when he was on the field. Now, 2020 rolls around, and he hits 10 home runs, or 9 home runs in the first 20 games of the season, something around there, and was just all-world when he first stepped on the field in 2020, only to, nonetheless, eventually go down again with another injury. Missed a lot of the season, came back in the postseason, hit a couple of big home runs. I call him a clutch first-inning home run guy. But the third straight year where Aaron Judge struggled to stay on the field. Now, when he was on the field, he was healthy. Now, Kenny, what do you think about what the Yankees should do going forward with Aaron Judge? Do you think that they should keep him for the next 2 years? He's the face of the team. He's great when he's on the field, and we're going to roll with our guy? Or do you think maybe it's time to move on? Maybe it's time to trade him while he still has some sort of value?
Definitely, I think hold on to Aaron Judge for at least 2 years. So we don't even have this conversation if he doesn't get hurt the last 3 years, which he's been an injury problem. It's as simple as that. He's been hurt the last 3 years for a good portion of the seasons. He's 112 games, 102 games, and then this year he missed half the season. So he's become an injury problem, and that's his thing right now. He's got to shake that. If he didn't get hurt, he would have continued to be excellent, as he has been every single time he's been on the field. So I think you have 2 more years till he hits free agency. You got to see what he has in those 2 years. You got to hold on to him. He's the face of their team. You put him in the same conversation as Jeter, Munson, DiMaggio, Mantle, as the face of the team, not necessarily what they are as a player yet. He's shown that he's an excellent player when he's healthy, but he's got to prove that he can stay on the field in the next 2 years.
Now, don't get me wrong. Aaron Judge, if it was a 100-game season, Aaron Judge is a first-ballot Hall of Famer. But it's not. It's 162 games, and you've got to be on the field for at least 150 of those games. All the great players are like that. And if you want to lead a team to a championship, and, that's my thing. I'm not a big storyline guy. I don't care, if you were drafted by the team, you won Rookie of the Year, you're the face of the franchise. If you don't win a World Series, I don't care who's on the team. You could have all the greatest players in the world. You could have Mike Trout on your team. He hasn't been to the postseason since 2014. So for me, it's not about who's on your team. It's about whether you've won. The Yankees have never won with Aaron Judge, and he hasn't stayed on the field enough for the regular season for me not to say, you know what? If there's a deal that can be made where I can acquire a front-of-the-rotation starting pitcher, I might make that trade. Forego the face of the franchise. He's the next Derek Jeter. But what I focus on is wins and losses, and are you the last team standing in October at the end of the day? So, for me, I'm calling other GMs if I'm Brian Cashman, and I'm saying, hey, Aaron Judge is available. If you want to trade me a top starting pitcher, a guy maybe in his mid-20s, I'll throw out a name like Jack Flaherty with the Cardinals. I think that might be a trade that could make sense for the Yankees to slide in behind Aaron Judge and actually win some games in the playoffs. I'm going to make that move.
No, I see what you mean there, but I think at the same time, a guy like Aaron Judge, he's a top 5 talent in the league when he stays healthy. You got to at least see what you have there over the next 2 years. You're always fielding offers if you get trades, or if you get offers that are blow you away. You always have to consider it. But I think that you got to hold on to Judge these next 2 years at least. He's one of those guys that he makes a huge difference to the entire lineup when he's actually in there. You'll see, like in a big game, if he comes up to the plate in the first inning and he hits a home run in a big game like you saw in 2018 wild card game, even against this year, against the Indians in Game 1, he hit that bomb in the first inning. It sets the tone of the whole series, sets the tone of the whole game, where you know that once that happens, it's almost like the Yankees are going to win this game. There's not too many guys like that in the league right now. And that's something like, it's just like aura thing that they put on that he brings, almost like what Derek Jeter did like in 2000 when he hits the home run off Al Leiter in the first inning, or not
Bobby Jones, I think.
Bobby Jones in the first inning.
He took Leiter deep in the following game too.
Yeah, then he takes him deep. Yeah, it's something like that. It just sets the tone. He steps up in the right moments like that, but there are times with Judge where he just falls asleep in the postseason also, where he just disappears. But if he can stay healthy for a full season, he makes such an impact on the entire lineup that it's not many guys can do that in the entire league. It's insane, like what he actually brings to the team, defensively and offensively, and to the clubhouse.
No, I mean, I absolutely agree with the talent level of Aaron Judge. My whole issue with him is that he doesn't stay on the field enough. He's not there for even 150 games of the year. When you have a guy who's the leader of your team, he's supposed to be your best player, he's got to be suiting up day in and day out. He can't be missing 50, 60 games during the regular season. You know, going back to kind of an older Yankee team when A-Rod was the Yankees' third baseman, this is a guy who played every day. Like him or hate him, he played. I remember in 2009 when he was going to miss the first month of the season with hip surgery, the whole thing was, well, you know, A-Rod, you know, it's not going to be a full season for him. You know, he got hurt. He missed about 20 games the previous year. You know, is he going to be an injury-prone guy? He comes in 2009 and produces in 124 games. If Aaron Judge played 124 games, I would think that that's a full damn season for that guy. He does not stay on the field. And he couldn't even stay on the field for a 60-game season. So my thing is, while he's still viewed as a generational talent, an MVP caliber player, why not shop him around a little bit while you still might be able to get a front-of-the-rotation starter that can actually win you a game too in the postseason? Something the Yankees have had a very difficult time doing is actually building a rotation since that 2009 Yankee team when they had Sabathia, Burnett, and Pettit. We haven't seen a core group of starting pitchers like that from the Yankees in the postseason.
Yeah, no, the main thing for him is, so you have 2 years left before he hits free agency that you have to pay him a lot. You've got to, unless you get an absolute haul, I think that you've got to at least wait it out, and you got to see what he brings the next 2 years. If he gets hurt a lot over the next 2 years, then I think it's a serious question just letting him go or trying to deal him or something. But I think that you got to at least test out these waters the next 2 seasons unless you get absolutely blown away.
Now let me ask you a question here. Let's say that the Yankees general manager, Brian Cashman, he calls up, I think it's John Mozeliak, I think he's still the GM of the president of the Cardinals, and they strike up a trade in which they can get Jack Flaherty, who struggled last year, but he's got incredible stuff. He's going to be 25 years old next year. And in 2019, he was a front-of-the-rotation, strikeout, shutdown kind of guy who's had postseason experience. If you can build a trade around a guy who you think is a number 1 or number 2 starting pitcher who's young, would you pull the trigger in that case?
So if you're offering me right now Jack Flaherty for Aaron Judge,
a deal built around
that,
not necessarily, you know, straight up.
Honestly, right now I probably wouldn't do it because I think Judge brings that much to the table right now. Even though the Yankees are struggling in the starting rotation, like they need at least 2 more guys, as we've discussed previously.
So you're going to roll the dice that Aaron Judge plays 150, 140 games.
I think you got to roll the dice with him right now. I don't know if, unless you got a little bit more back. I know that's a lot to ask because Flaherty is a great pitcher in the league right now. He's a great young pitcher. They're almost the equivalent to each other when you think about a pitcher that's young and up and coming like that, and Judge, who's young, who's considered still pretty young and up and coming the way he is. It's almost like they're equivalents to each other. But I think that right now, I think Judge brings more to the table for the Yankees day in and day out than Jack Flaherty would. And you got to just see what you got with Judge, at least for this year.